A bunch of guys featured at Georgia's Pro Day, pretty indicative of just how much talent the Bulldogs send to the NFL. To break it all down for you, I'm joined by my coworker, Mike Griffith. Mike, I'm going to go position group by position group, but off the top, two of Georgia's kind of biggest prospects tweaked their hamstrings and couldn't participate. Brock Bowers, Amarius Mims, but we still got to talk about what those guys can contribute at the next level.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think both of these guys are proven products. I think it's all on tape. They will have a pro workout. I believe the first week of April, Sarah, they're going to go. So these guys want to compete. Brock Bowers wants to run the 40. Brock Bowers wants to show everybody what he can do. He can't help it. And Amarius Mims, obviously, he won the beauty contest at the NFL Combine. I mean, 6'7", 335. I mean, he ran an amazing shuttle drill, best for an offensive lineman since the 1990s, and a 5.07 40. And he tells us he thinks he could have run even faster than that. But both guys in good spirits today, eager to get back to competing. And as you said, go to the NFL. I think both of these guys are impact players that'll start as rookies, as first-round draft picks.
It's tough to stand out here watching because I want to be out there and doing stuff, but it happens. Yeah. I mean, I feel like wherever I go, I feel like I can be used in a bunch of different ways, and I feel like that would be how I'd be used best and everything like that. So I hope I go to a place that is willing to use me like that.
Honestly, that I'm more than just a big guy, a big tackle. I feel like I can move very well, move like every other, like even better than other guys. Honestly, like I said, I think I can bend well, move around, show guys I can pull, get on the edge, and big splash plays. That's where that comes from. So.
A trio of huge defensive backs about to go to the league for Georgia. Kamari Lassiter, Tyke Smith, Javon Bullard. What do those guys bring?
Yeah, well, they brought a lot more speed than some people thought, and I think all their stock is on the rise. We got to see both Tyke and Javon Bullard running that 4.4 range at the Combine in Indianapolis. These were guys that some people had written off as maybe 4 or 5 guys. They popped those 4.4s, and all of a sudden now they're getting a second look. Tyke particularly. I mean, this was a guy, Sarah, led Georgia in tackles and interceptions, and I think we all glossed over it. I mean, there's a superstar back there in Malachi Starks, next year's first-round pick. You got Javon Bullard, the Buckeye Crunch guy that knocked out Marvin Harrison. But Tyke came in this year, and he was a real anchor at that star and a playmaker. This is a guy that I think trying to work himself into the second day of the draft would be a third-round pick, probably still around the fourth, but you never know. Somebody might like him. Bullard, a guy that's been in the third-round conversation from the jump. I've seen one mock with Javon late in the first. Again, all it takes is one team to like you. Now, Kamari was the guy that hadn't done a lot at the Combine. He did a lot today, and from what I've heard, he ran a 4.4 something 40, which is where you want to see these cornerbacks run. Kamari's a guy that can come up really good in run support. If there's any questions, it does his frame, support him coming up, taking on these NFL running backs. But Kamari Lassiter right now, still a guy that's looking to go maybe late in the first round, at very latest mid-second round.
Bullard had a fantastic bite on what he thinks he can contribute at the next level.
You getting a dog. You getting a dog. No pun intended. Nah. But you getting a dog, man. But really just a guy's going to give 110% no matter where he plays. A guy's going to create value to your team on and off the field. You're going to get an asset, not a liability. I'm going to help your team in many ways, and I'm going to hurt your team. You know what I mean? So I just want everybody to know that and know the person that they're getting.
Okay, now let's talk offense. Ladd McConkey, Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaint.
Yeah, what a story for Ladd McConkey. I mean, how can you not like a guy from North Georgia that nobody but Kirby Smart wanted to go see? Eli Drinkwitz of Missouri stood him up, was supposed to go to his basketball, didn't show up. Jim Chaney from Tennessee didn't quite make it there. Ladd McConkey proving a lot of these people wrong. And Kirby said from the start today, we asked him, he said, I liked the chip on the shoulder. Ladd McConkey's a guy, remember, this guy redshirted. He didn't play the first year, hardly dressed out at all. And now you see Ladd in the first round conversation. We saw those glimpses at Georgia, the big playmaking, the explosivity, whether you give it to him on an end around, throw it to him deep, you can put him in the slot. Ladd also a guy that can return kicks. He did some of that today with the 32 NFL teams on hand. But really a developing story, a guy that has really captured the imagination. We heard the Senior Bowl executive director compare him to Cooper Kupp, and then he goes out there and nobody can cover him at the Senior Bowl, and now all the NFL teams are talking about Ladd McConkey. He's a developing story. Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaint, a good story too. Remember that injury he had against Florida, Sarah?
That was devastating.
It was brutal, wasn't it? And he's come back, and all he did was blue-collar work. He did the stuff on the perimeter. Really reliable hands. Don't know that he ran the number that he wanted today, but you know what you're going to get in Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaint. This is a guy that's going to make the team. This is a guy that'll play special teams. This is a guy that'll tell you his favorite play at Georgia, whereas a lead blocker. You don't hear about receivers saying they want to be lead blockers, but that's Marcus's mentality. NFL teams love it. I think he showed out really well here today. I think you'll see Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaint drafted in the later rounds, and he'll make an NFL team.
Georgia's losing 2 running backs, Kendall Milton and Dejon Edwards. How do you see those guys' skills translating at the next level?
Well, you know, Kendall's one of these late bloomer kind of guys, and we saw the glimpses early.
Great personality.
Oh, tremendous personality. So engaging. You know, Kendall had that moment, the opt-in moment after the SEC championship game where he said there's no way he's going to let his brothers down. He's going to play in that Orange Bowl, and it really caught on. I thought that was a real historic moment for Georgia football, maybe college football in general, because it showed you that you can build a team with chemistry and guys that want to play for one another, not just about the almighty dollar. It was not a playoff game. So I think Kendall's intangible with his leadership and his personality is one thing. End of the day, though, this is a 234-pound guy that runs a 4.5 40, can run over you, run around you, and catch the ball. I think somebody's going to get a real steal with Kendall Milton, 4th, 5th round. He didn't have a ton of production at Georgia because the injuries, the hamstring injury bothered him a little bit, a couple of sprained MCL, some bad luck. Really turned it up the second half of his senior year, however, that Orange Bowl MVP, that'll go a long way. Dejon Edwards, now this is a workhorse. This is another guy that played hurt oftentimes in his career. I didn't realize this there till the combine. This guy played the first half of last year with a sprained MCL. And if you want to know why, it's because there was nobody else there. A lot of young guys, and so Dejon taking one for the team, stepping up. That stuff gets noticed by NFL clubs. Another guy could get drafted late, will make an NFL team because of the intangibles, the things that he can bring to you. He's a football player, Colquitt County kid. This guy loves football. You're going to have a hard time getting him off the field. I think that came through today in the drill. Well, I thought he looked really good.
Defensive line, Zion Logue and Tramel Wallflower.
Boy, these are 2 big bodies, and if you play D-line at Georgia, that just tells you something about you right there. I mean, this has been one of the most prolific defensive lines in college football over the years. These guys are coached up well. They've played at a championship level. They understand the value of hard work. Again, we're not talking about first-round picks. There's not a Jalen Carter or a Jordan Davis or a Devontae Wyatt in this outgoing group of defensive linemen. But these are guys that have gone to the meetings, that have showed up at practices, and that Kirby Smart is going to endorse. That means a lot. Both of these guys, late-round picks, potential free agents, but again, 2 more big-bodied guys that understand what it takes to win championships that you want in your locker room.
Smart was asked about long snapper William Mote and said, well, did he get called for bad snaps? Well, that says he did his job.
That's right. You know, they're like umpires. If you notice them, they're not doing their job, right? And William Mote was a guy that went out there, got it done consistently. I think he might have played 54, 55 games. There's some debate if he's played more wins than any Georgia player, if you count a long snapper. But William was another guy, though, that did his job, a 4-year starter, a guy that competed. And, you know, that's a really difficult position to make it in the NFL. Think about it. There's only 32 teams, and they're not carrying a whole lot of long snappers. So a lot of competition for William ahead, though. There's going to be teams that are going to be looking for long snappers. He was the #1 rated long snapper at the Senior Bowl this year. That's going to go a long way in his workouts as a free agent.
One last one for you. If you're an NFL team and you're looking for a steal with Georgia players, who do you go for?
I'm going with Tyke Smith. Tyke has just really emerged. You know, when Tyke came in as a former All-American at West Virginia, I think we all expected an immediate impact. Unfortunately, he had a foot injury and later a knee injury, and he was playing his way back through that injury during the championship season in 2022. Last year, he had a much bigger role, and all he did was make plays. I mean, you look down at the stat sheet, and at the end of the year, the leading tackler for Georgia was Tyke Smith. The leading interceptions guy for Georgia was Tyke Smith. And then you saw what he did at the combine. Again, this is one of those late bloomer guys. You didn't expect him to have these sort of numbers. We knew that he had the intangibles. We knew that he'd come along. We knew that the confidence had grown. Right now is a good time to grab Tyke Smith. And listen, I'm a Ladd McConkey guy. I can't go without saying.
How can you not be a Ladd McConkey guy?
I'm bought into Ladd McConkey. I think this guy's going to contribute immediately. I don't know if I would call him a steal because he may go in the first round.
Sure.
But this is a guy I think is the consummate pro. His quickness, he's uncoverable, and he's got a great attitude. I mean, really, all these Georgia players, Sarah, I think they're headed for NFL careers.
Absolutely. From Georgia's Pro Day, he's Mike Griffith, DawgNation. I'm Sarah Spencer, AJC Sports.